My name is Robert Tuscani. I've been a teacher here for approximately 15 years. As pertaining to the visual arts, it's extremely important, obviously, to our world, cinematography, photography. I mean, visual arts are everywhere. Your computer, your phone, magazines, television, the big screen, and so forth. So it's extremely important. The newer technology is making it easier, most definitely. It's making it, I mean, the newer technology is available to almost everyone. And so that positive influence is that there are more opportunities for people to shoot. As for the negative influence, I think is the technology, if we're still talking about the technology, is making people somewhat lazy, and they think that they can just point in any direction and have a beautiful image, whereas they have to understand lighting, composition, color, what it represents to a viewer. That's the most important thing to a cinematographer or a storyteller, is how is that image going to affect the individuals that are watching those visual images. The different types of art that are rechanneled, in a sense, I don't know about the term rechanneled, but as a cinematographer, you tend to, and as well as a director working with cinematographer and a production designer, they will reference previous forms of art, be it realism perhaps from the early part of last century and throughout. It could be abstract art, or they reference, you know, classical artists, Caravaggio. We have a style of lighting we call Rembrandt lighting, so we use previous artists' work all the time. It's part of our being, and then we take that and perhaps manipulate it and try to make it into our own style. Well, in film, as for popular images, for cinematographers, directors, and working together as well as with production designers, they're going to go for a look. And in a sense, that look has been done before in some form or shape. It's because they know that it's going to stimulate the senses of an audience member because they have seen it. They recognize it. So a cinematographer might choose a film noir look, very contrasty, quite often backlit, black and white style, that will fit a story that's contemporary. I guess the question is, who's some of my favorite visual artists, and probably who are some of my influences, I guess. My background originally was photography, so my influences came from the still photography world. Pete Turner was one. I love the colors that he used. Man Ray, Dorothea Lange, her documentary style and look. It's funny, the images of National Geographic were a tremendous influence on me when I was 13, 14 years old when I got my first camera. As well as, this might sound kind of odd, but I think it's very true of many young men, is the images of Playboy magazine as well. I mean, the study of the human figure has been a part of art for years, so if someone finds that sexist, I'm sorry. My contribution today is as a teacher. A couple of tips for students of cinematography. In fact, probably the number one thing I think is most important, or I've mentioned it before, is that cinematography, in most cases, is a collaborative art. You're trying to tell a story. That director's trying to tell that story. You have crews, you have equipment, you have lights, you have all these things. And if you can't utilize these things, if you don't know how to use these things, then you're not going to be a great cinematographer, or even a good cinematographer. But I think you got what you need, though, right? I think.